The average apprenticeship for a regular tuner would be what? How many years?
Well, I think in the days in the 40s and 50s, I think it was 5 years. They started off in the workshop just doing all these little tasks and learning how to glue and repair hammer shanks and things. And my mentor, this man who showed me a lot, who's no longer, he said that when he was a young man, this was before the Second World War, that an old tuner said to him after about 3 years, it's about time you learned to tune. Up until that time, Leonard was restringing and repairing and cleaning and French polishing. It all was part of the trade. Now it's done at the Stevenson College in Edinburgh. I think it's a 3-year higher national course, which takes in all aspects of repair. I believe it's very good. Students come from all over the world. And then I think the third year they get into this tuning bit, the temper scale. But I think most of the people I've met who've come out of the college they're ready to tune, but as they tune, the more pianos they tune, the better they get at it. I think I'm still getting better.
But not something you would advise people to try themselves without any previous...
Well, if they've got somebody who they can, I mean, if they can phone, if they try it and they go wrong, they can always phone me and I put it right for them. But a lot of tuners over the years, I mean, it has, as far as I know, has been a closed shop. I mean, for instance, unless there is the Piano Tuners Association. Okay. Yellow pages, good old yellow pages. Right, tell me from where to where. From East Kilbride to the dump. You want rid of this piano, you want to dump the piano. Well, you could get the cleansing would dump it for you. Yeah, why is it? Why do you want to get rid of it? Who told you that? The piano tuner told you it's past its best. He says it's dead. Well, it could well be. What make is the piano? A Schwander. That's not too old, is it? Is it? Is it an old? Right, let me hear. Play me the scale of middle C. Uh-huh. Right. Well, it's not far away from standard pitch. What's wrong? Why did he say it was finished? He said it was dead. What was the expression he used? He said it wasn't worth tuning anymore. So what are you going to do? Buy another piano? Well, I don't think you should dump it. I think you should advertise it. You don't dump it. If you're going to dump it, I would rather come and take it away and give you something for it, okay? Well, I'll take it away then. But don't dump it. You know, phone me before you when you decide what to do. Right. Yeah, well, you're on to the right person. Don't dump it. Don't throw it out unless you phone me before you do anything, okay? Right, bye. Bye. So that's a piano which is up in standard pitch, which has been condemned by somebody. So the lady is going to... She phoned me to ask me if my removal men, I don't own them, I use them, would take her piano to the dump. Well, the cleansing department would do that, you see. And if it were local and the lady hadn't phoned me and the cleansing department, she'd phoned the cleansing department, the cleansing department may have brought the piano to me. But she still thinks that he's right because he's the tuner, you see. And that's what people do. They believe the tuners. Or they believe people who say they know about pianos.
Is she still wanting a piano? She
wants another piano.
She wants another piano?
Yeah, not quite yet, but she thinks she should get rid of this one because this man said it was done. But listening to it over the phone sounded all right to me. If she said to me, well, would you come and take the piano away? Tomorrow I would go out with car and trailer, and I've got some help tomorrow. I've got a couple of people coming in to help me. Go out and we'd bring the piano back in. I would get it picked up. The whole operation would take an hour and a bit. I'd have it back in this house. I would have one of my assistants cleaning it, and I would pitch it up, and perhaps it would be all ready for sale tomorrow or the day after. Yeah, people sometimes buy pianos from me because they like the look of it, and I explain to them, I say, look, this one's better than the other, but you like this one? Oh yes, we like that, it would blend in with our furniture. I said, well, this technically is better. Well, it's only for our daughter, you see.
Do you think people get rid of them because they think there's an ice?
Oh, the majority of people get rid of pianos because they're told that there's nothing can be done. And therefore they phone an auction house, or they'll phone a second-hand, an antique dealer or a second-hand shop and say, look, we've got a piano here, or we're moving house, would you clear our house? And so the shop gets the piano. And I have a good source of people who phone me throughout Glasgow. They phone up and say, I've got a piano here. And I say, how cheap is it? And they say, well, you can have it for whatever. I usually tell people that I buy them for about 50 or 60 pounds and try and get maybe 150 for them. The people just don't know the value of them, and there is no great value in these anyway. I mean, for instance, it wouldn't be worth restringing a piano that's only worth a couple of £100. I get them from the auction. I leave bids. Sometimes I attend auctions, but when I attend auctions, I tend to start buying other things as well, like paintings, which is not my business anymore. I used to do that. I used to buy all sorts of things in the town and bring all this junk back, it's good stuff, and then put it, this is what most people do anyway, and put the thing back into a better auction and maybe double or treble your money. And how I started this piano business was I bought a piano from an auction and hauled it back to the house and got a tuner in to tune it, and I cleaned it and advertised it, and there was a lot of interest, and I realised that a lot of people were looking for cheap pianos. So I bought another, and I bought another, and I bought another, and it's just gone on from there. I get them from people phone me through the adverts, and I pick them up with this car and trailer. Sometimes I get my men to bring them in, but that costs me money. It's cheaper if I go out and pick them up. Pianos from the people come to my door with a piano in a van. They say, I hear you buy pianos. Sometimes I get the odd piano off the back of the cleansing lorry. These men are told to take a piano away, and they dump them, usually dump them, but they might just drop them off at a shop, and why not earn themselves a little bit of cash? I mean, after all, they've hauled a piano maybe down from a top flat, two men who are not experienced piano lifters, and they see them as works of art. I mean, they do see this, and why not? Why bin it? Why crush it? Perhaps it's the wrong thing to say, but these guys have brought me quite a few pianos over the years, and I've brought them back to health. Perhaps having the pianos been condemned by somebody, not necessarily a tuner, but perhaps somebody who thinks they know about pianos and they don't. And so I get them from there, and I get them through, of course, the adverts I put in the yellow pages and various other things, pianos wanted. Often people phone me and they actually come to the house and they buy the piano, and as we were talking about the delivery or the uplift, they say, oh, will the men take the old piano away? Now, they haven't told me about they've had an old piano. So I was, rather than saying, look, what's wrong with the old piano? I'll fix it, don't buy this. And I said, well, I'll get them to bring it back to me. I might be able to use it for spare parts, and often there's nothing wrong with them. In fact, most cases there's nothing wrong with them. But if somebody should phone me and say, look, they have a piano, and I say, well, why don't you just keep your piano? They say, oh no, it can't be tuned. So they sometimes say 2 or 3 tuners are. And I say, well, look, let me look at it first of all. And of course I'm talking myself out of a sale, but at the same time I'm saving their piano for them. Quite funny because I usually arrive at the house and cups of tea, and I take the piano apart, take about 5 sections off at the lower panel, the top panel, the fall board, the action, and people are staring again at me and at the piano. I'm aware of it. Oh, we've never seen that done before. I said, does the tuner not take the action? No. Oh, of course, often they'd have seen it done before. Yeah, it's quite amusing, I must say. And they say, oh, I never knew that. Oh, and sometimes I open the piano up to expose the action, and people say, what's that? I say, well, that's the engine. That's what makes it work. Oh, never seen behind there. Never seen a piano being tuned. We didn't know that was there. We didn't even know that front panel came up. Oh, really, it's quite good fun.
So it's a bit like a sort of machine, a piano, isn't it? I mean, it's a machine in a way, isn't it?
Well, in many ways, it's even more complicated than a car. I think there's something like 2,000 different bits in a piano, and it's wood, felt, steel, hide, brass, mild steel, cast iron, different woods, oak, spruce, cedar wood. All the different woods that are made, different factories that use different types of stems for hammers, and it's a huge subject. It really is. And in the days of Steinway, well, the last century, for instance, the great British Broadwood piano, it was the first sort of major company. Broadwood started way back in 1780, I think. And the sons and the fathers and sons took over, and they would have they had Broadwood House in London, and all the great composers and pianists would come from all over Europe and play these. It was an invitation to buy. They would have concerts, and the Broadwood Grand would be there, and the audience were punters or buyers, and they would listen to these instruments being played, and they would then buy pianos. It was all about that. It was a huge industry.
When moving pianos, have you had any disasters at all? I mean, you were saying earlier you could manage it, but have you heard of any disasters?
No, I remember once going to a house on the south side of Glasgow. I was on my own, as I often am. This was in the early days, car and trailer, and recruited two. It was a one-up within a sort of, it wasn't a mansion. It was a big house, but a tight turn. And so I got these two guys walking along the road, and I said, do you want a $5 each? Will you help me down the stair with this piano? And we got stuck. And I was at the bottom holding the complete weight coming round this bend, and one of the guys slipped and the piano was coming over, and thankfully I think the owner of the house got behind me and held it while the man at the top recovered, and it was a terrible nightmare of a job. I often think about it. If they'd lost control, these two guys, then I would have been probably quite badly injured. The piano would have come down. This particular one probably weighed about 28 stone, which it was an overstrung with a full iron frame. That's why a lot of people won't handle pianos, because they say, oh, I've got a bad back. But since I started this business, my back has never been better. I think before I move, it's a balancing act. 2 men can lift these. The men that lift for me, they say they're happy they're in balance, they work together. A third person can tilt it and just throw it out of gear. It's all a balancing act, really. But 2 men can comfortably lift this.